As if you are telling the layman, you choose, you pick and choose. You tell the layman what you think is the strongest and the most correct, what you believe. Maybe somebody else will say something else because that's what he believes, according to his knowledge, according to his conviction of the adillah and the evidences. So if this sheikh said this or this sheikh said that, we respect that. But we know that the opinion, the strongest opinion here is this opinion, because it is supported with the evidence from the Kitab and Sunnah. I'll give you one example. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, أيما امرأة نكحت بغير إذن وليها فنكاحها باطل فنكاحها باطل فنكاحها باطل. Any woman that gets herself married without the consent of her guardian, her marriage is invalid, invalid, invalid. And this is the madhab of Malik, Ahmad and Shafi'i. So it is invalid. This ayyuma imra'ah is not applied for every woman. It is applied for the slave woman. The slave woman has no right to get herself married without the consent of her wali. But if she is free, she can get married. Understand? That's why now the ulama, if a woman, in our current situation, if a woman got married without the consent of her wali, and now they have children, the scholars, they will not say the children are illegitimate children. Because there is a scholar who said this, and his ijtihad based on the hadith, and that was his understanding. But that understanding is not correct. And the ulama, they refuted him. And they said the hadith says, ayyuma. And ayyu means any. And then another emphasis, ma. And you are saying it is only applied for a specific. So what is the dalil that it is only applied for the specific, when it is ayyuma, which denotes generality? So you know now the strongest opinion is the opinion of the majority of the scholars, based on the hadith. So that's why you follow the evidence. If you are qualified, we have to make this emphasize. If you are qualified, if you are strong students of knowledge, or if you are alim. If you are a layman, you just the layman ask the alim, and that's it. No problem. Because here we have two extremes. One extreme, no madhab. Another extreme, ijtihad. What is this? Huh? You want the layman to open Bukhari, how can he understand Bukhari? And deduce ahkam from Bukhari? Doesn't work. The layman, Allah said, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge if you don't understand. That's it. Those who will be able to extract the ahkam and understand, the people who are qualified. But even the layman can also differentiate. You know this? For instance, I am a layman. I came to this sheikh and this sheikh. I asked this sheikh, Sheikh, what is the ruling regarding this? He told me, my son, it is haram. Full stop. Haram, full stop. I went to the second sheikh. He said, it is haram, my son. And because Allah said this, and he will read the ayah to me. And the Prophet ﷺ said this, and he will read the hadith. And the Sahaba, and he will mention the name of the Sahaba. Now, I'm a layman. The second time I have a question, which one I will go to? The one who just told me haram, or the one who told me haram and he gave me dalil? Give me dalil. That I am a layman, but at least I feel more confident here. Are you following? And this is what we do in our life. If my child falls sick and I'm a layman, I don't go to any doctor. Do I? Do you take your child to the vet? He's a doctor. He treats cows. Do you take your child to the vet? No, he's a doctor. You will say, who's the specialist? The layman. Who's the best doctor in the town? Why don't you ask, who's the best sheikh? Who's the alim? Who's more pious and righteous and fears Allah Azza wa Jal? You ask him. So, we should not go to the extremes. Always Islam is the middle. Always Islam is in the middle. There's nothing wrong with the madhabs as long as you are not fanatic, blind followers. There's no problem. I'm a student of knowledge. In my country, there are two famous schools, Hanafi and Shafi'i. There's no problem in studying that madhab and understanding. But I'm not a blind follower or fanatic follower. When the evidence is clear and the strongest opinion is clear, I have to follow the strongest opinion. Is this clear? So, the tamimah, even if it is from the Quran, it is not allowed. Is this clear to everyone? And you should know how to now argue or handle it if someone used that argument. Also, in another narration, the Prophet ﷺ says, "Man ta'allaqa tamimah faqad ashrak." Whoever wears a talisman has committed shirk. If you wear tamimah, you have committed shirk. You have committed shirk. Another hadith, which is in Ibn Abi Hatim reported about Hudayfa, and this is weak narration. أنه رأى رجلا في يده خيط من الحمى فقطعه وتلا قوله وما يؤمن أكثرهم بالله إلا وهم مشركون. He saw a man with a piece of twine on his hand as a protection or cure from fever. So he cut the twine and read the verse, most of them believe in Allah and still practice shirk. Though the meaning is acceptable, but because there is not, there is a problem with it. And we mentioned this before, we don't go by the meaning to accept the hadith. We go check first of all, are the criteria, or is the criterion met or not to accept the hadith. So this narration, there is a defect in the isnad, because the isnad there is discontinuity, munqati'. There is one missing ring in the isnad. Why? Because there is the narrator missing between Urwa ibn Zubayr. Urwa ibn Zubayr, we don't know whom he heard this hadith from. We don't know that Urwa ibn Zubayr, he heard this hadith from Hudayfa. Because the scholars, they say, we are sure that Urwa didn't hear this from Hudayfa. So maybe he heard it from someone. Who's that one? Missing. Who's that one is? Missing. So there is inqita', discontinuity. So we don't accept this hadith. And this is the end of the chapter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our deeds and your deeds. And we're going to break now. And inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna alhamdulillah. Nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nastahdihi. Wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina. Wa min sayyiati a'malina. Innahu man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lah. Wa man yudlil fala hadiya lah. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد. Chapter number 8. The ruqa, ruqa, spiritual cure, talismans, the talismans, and amulets. This is the title. What does it mean? It means what has been mentioned or reported in the Quran and Sunnah regarding these things. That's the meaning of the title. That's the meaning of it. Understand now? But this is omitted, implied. You have to take that in mind. So the author is telling us what has been reported in our deen. What are the rulings that pertain to the spiritual cures?